Hey everyone, welcome to the Costume Jewelry Chronicles with Lynn and Carrie. Each episode we will feature a new vintage costume jewelry designer and talk a little bit about jewelry reselling. We hope you enjoy. Welcome everyone to the Jewelry Call. It is November 5th, Election Day. Don't forget to vote. And we're talking Art Deco jewelry today, but if anybody has any quick questions before we start, we can answer a couple and then
Or
answer
if you have
more
any
when we're done.
awesome finds or awesome sales, I was going to share a couple of mine. Did you have anything interesting going on in your store this week, Lynn?
No, it's been a really slow week. I've been trying to work with people when they send me messages, trying to be better about making deals with people. And I can't say I have any like great sales. I did have $100 necklace sell, but it's coming
Awesome.
back.
Oh,
It's
not
coming
awesome.
back to me. Didn't
I
take
had a
long
return
for
this
her
morning.
to open up a
Me too. I had
return.
one that was delivered this morning at like, I don't know what he said, and he literally opened it and returned it. But he said it just didn't fit what he was going to use it for, so it was fine. And he was like, sent me a message and said, "Is there any way that I can pay you for the shipping because I don't feel it's right that you have to pay for it?" Because he said, "I'm the one that decided I didn't like it." And you know what? On customers like that, I'm more than happy to say, "You know what? It's fine. I got you. It's part of my policy," because he was polite and he acknowledged that I shouldn't have to pay for the return shipping. So I mean, it was just part of the deal. But I did want to share that I saw that eBay is running ad campaigns on like different cable TVs like MTV and stuff for vintage and costume jewelry on eBay.
Really? Hallelujah. All I ever see is car parts,
Yep, nope, it was
eBay
costume and
Motors.
vintage costume, and it was featuring vintage costume jewelry available on eBay for the Christmas season. So that was
Wow.
fabulous. Yes, I thought that was exciting news. Actually, I found it because somebody else was complaining that they keep featuring vintage jewelry and not clothes. So I was, that's how I found out about it, but it was pretty cool. So I was excited about that. And because I think sometimes people don't always think about it, and I would love for them to keep featuring the fact that if you don't like it or it doesn't, even though we don't want the returns, it's good PR for people to know that they can return things on eBay. Because I think sometimes they're worried about getting a bad seller, and then they what are they going to do if they have a bad seller, whereas we know that they're always going to be covered because
Right.
eBay's always got their back, so we know that. Let me share my screen quick if I can get it to work this time. It was being picky at me. So I shared this one in the Facebook group when it was on auction, and that's what it ended up bringing. I got these at a garage sale. So anytime you can sell a pair of clip-on earrings for 271 bucks, it is a great day. I think that's probably the highest price clip-on earrings I've ever sold though.
That's
So it's not
amazing, Carrie.
Could you
not
show
a
the picture of the maker's mark?
sure. It's just a regular Cloro, I think. Cloro Craft. Hang on here. There's the back.
Thank you.
This one I bought. This was part of that Kansas buy a long time ago. For the spring maybe. You can tell it's in rough shape. There's no doubt about it. If this person fixes this up, my guess is around 700 bucks. She'll probably get out of it if they fix it. Good for them. I'm not fixing it. They can fix it. There's the back. It's an Eisenberg original. Happy to get 420 bucks out of something that, was all beat up and looked like that.
Amazing.
This is from the lady that I'm picking up the rest of the jewelry on Sunday. This guy bought 2 pieces of this. I'm learning so much about Danish furling. It's ridiculous. She had a bunch of it. My cost in this was like $2, I think, and 25 cents is what it figured out to be. I
That
think
gouache is gorgeous, Carrie.
the what?
The gouache, the enamel.
Oh, yes, it is. And all of it that she had was all this blue. All of it was
Oh,
blue. And
fabulous.
I'd sold the earrings to this too. I think I took an offer on this one for 175 because he bought this too. So this one, I think 125, I think. So I did take offers on him. This one wasn't in as good a shape, but he bought the bracelet and the necklace. you know, maybe this was 140. I think maybe it was 140. And then this was my other one. This is like an ugly brooch, not in amazing condition, but I bought it at a garage sale for $1/4 because I noticed that it was signed by I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Grosse or whatever. And I know that that's a Dior mark, basically. So that sold for, I think I took an offer at 175 for that
Carrie,
one.
do you bring a magnifying glass with you, or are your eyes good enough to
No, I
see?
hate those people. They drive me crazy. But no, I have old eyes, Larry. My eyes are old.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of this. Well, I do look, but should I probably bring one? Will I probably at some point? Probably. But like the Corocraft and stuff like that, I don't need to be able to read it. You know, Lynn's probably the same. You don't need to be able to read it. You can tell by shape. You can tell by seeing it across the room. You know, that's a Trifari mark. That's a Coro mark. You know, you can just tell by the outline. These, yeah, I would need to, you know, I'm not familiar with, I wouldn't have been familiar enough with this, but you can still tell, like right there in the middle, I would have been able to tell you it was Mark Sterling, whether, you know, not tested or anything, but you can tell those marks. So
Yeah.
you don't need to necessarily be able to read it all to know what it is after a while. So those were probably my top sales for the week. So that wasn't too bad. It was a pretty good, that was last week's, I guess, since our call, but it was pretty good. And then, you know, I had my store on vacation mode for over a week, and I started listing normally again last Thursday, and by Friday I had $1,000 day. So it popped right back up. I've had good sales ever since. I think I shipped out 135 packages yesterday and another like 30, I think, today. So pretty good week. Meg.
Yeah, in terms of seeing the jewelry when you're buying it, I realized for like next flea market season, I need to get some like prescription sunglasses or something, because with the glare, I got home and I'm like, how did I not see that all the gold tone is worn away on this one necklace I got? I'm like, oh my God.
That's a thing.
Oh,
I
it's
don't know
so
about you,
hard.
Lynn,
Even
but
with clothing stuff too, it's so hard to see some flaws in the sun, or even I moved you the shade a little. I don't know. I'm
it
blind.
happens to me too. Does it happen to you, Lynn?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I
I
was
bought
horrified. I buy this.
I bought a interesting tin of jewelry. It was a tin about this big, and it had tons of brooches in it that were all real old, and they were all filthy dirty, missing rhinestones, broken pins, and they had $8 on it. And there was one piece in there I felt was Miriam Haskell, and I asked how much that one was, and she says it's $8 for the whole tin. And I'm looking at it going, like, I picked it up and my hands were all dirty, and I thought this might be a project, like a learning experience for me. So I bought it, and I think I'm going to do test cleaning on them. I think I'm going to try the sonic cleaner with some of them, even with the rhinestones in them. I might be able to save some of the rhinestones out of these. They're real old pieces. I'm like early 1900s to 1940s probably. And it's just, I might film it just to see what it does to it. Some of them are tarnished. Some have rust on them, like really bad. So they're filthy, but should be an interesting project.
I am all about that. I feel the same way about ultrasonic cleaners. You know, usually I would put a good piece in like that, but if it's going to be junk anyway, if I can't get it clean, I'll toss it in and let's just see what happens. Lots of times I have to throw it out, but once in a while you get one that it takes care of it. Same with chains. You got to be careful with them in there because sometimes they'll take finishes off and stuff, but sometimes it fixes it. So I agree with you. I would just use it as an experiment and see what happens. I did see on a very popular YouTube the other day that they were recommending that we
Can you
do
not get
all
your
that we
water?
polish all real silver jewelry and that we use toothpaste and a toothbrush. Is that a thing? Because I ain't doing that.
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay. I
definitely
was
not
like,
on silver or sterling silver, because a
that's
lot
what
of
they were
people
saying
like
is
the
the sterling.
patina.
I always leave
They
the
won't,
patina, and lots of it's embossed. And that patina in those little lines, I feel like makes them so much prettier.
I do too.
Plus,
There is people that won't buy them if they're shiny.
well, plus, if we don't have to clean it, why are we cleaning it? Like, I spend a
Mhm.
lot of time cleaning gross stuff. If I cannot clean something, let's do that.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of selling vintage jewelry. I put that little line like you do in there. Oh, just lightly wiped it down. You might want to deep
But
clean
I
it.
actually do clean mine. I just have that in there so people don't complain
I
at
wipe
me.
it. I make it so it doesn't like make your hand dirty, but you
I mean,
know.
I polish them up pretty good, most of them, but I don't on Sterling. I leave it
Yeah.
alone. I just
I
let
did
it
list
be.
that single baby tooth Jafari earring though, and it still has some green on it. And I was like, it's missing stones too and all that. I put it on auction. It already has bids. So I was like, people are gonna want
So I
this. I'm
have
gonna keep
no,
giving it.
my Vera de Grasse issue. So that's a good call all in itself. I am not good at, like, people make it look easy to get it off and stuff. I don't know what I do
Either.
wrong, but
I,
mine
I
doesn't.
I hate it. I can't. It's hard. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
I
is.
usually just sell it as is.
You should clean it off. That's my opinion. That's one thing I will make sure I have
Bagged
off.
separately though, and people buy it with it with obvious
I'm
know
sure
it.
they do, but I feel like a lot of my feedback is from people that say it was so clean, it was nice, just ready to be worn. But the verdigris can transfer, and I know you said it was in a separate bag, but still it
Always bag
grows.
it separate.
So the one thing that I end up having to do with that a lot of times, because it really attaches to the metal, and I
Mhm.
will take an ice pick. I have an ice pick in my little mug of tools, and I will just like lightly scrape it off. I'm not scratching the metal. Sometimes I turn the ice pick at an angle and like scrape it off, but it gets into fine points. It's got that fine point on
Mhm.
it, so it can get into little grooves, and I'll just lightly peel it off, and it comes off. It just doesn't come off with like a toothbrush or some of the cleaners that you might use, or water for that matter. So that little ice pick I use probably every other day.
And then do you do something on top of it, like you get the chunks off, and then what do you do to get the fine stuff off?
I'll use a paper towel. Either I'll dampen the paper towel with water. Sometimes I use Windex. Now, I know people would cringe if they heard that, but
I clean everything with Windex.
alcohol.
Yeah.
I use
Alcohol is a
Windex every
good one
day.
because it spray Windex on a paper towel first. I don't spray Windex
Yes.
directly on a piece. I just
No,
spray it on
I
the
don't
paper
either.
towel, and then I wipe the rhinestones down, because a lot of times there's a film or something on the top, and that'll
Mhm.
get them clean. But alcohol you could probably use on a paper towel and roll it, and like, if you want to get detailed, and it'll dry fast. And that's the one thing, you don't want water or anything sitting on the jewelry that long. So alcohol is good for that.
Yeah, that's
But
smart.
I do have jewelry cleaner too, but I only use that for
What about the ketchup and vinegar
pieces.
thing? You don't use that?
No, I don't. I just think then I have to worry about getting all the ketchup off.
I just don't
That's
have great
I
luck.
didn't think it
Lots
worked
of
that
times,
well, and it just smelled like ketchup too. And I'm like, great, now it's green and smells like ketchup.
lots of times I'm selling it though, like, so it's a really nice piece and it's got that on it. So they're getting a really great deal. And if they want to take the time to clean it up, they're probably making good money off of me. I mean, people aren't buying those with the Vera de Gras stuff. They're not buying it because they want to wear it. I'm always selling it to other people that are going to clean it up and flip it and make money. Um, and I always put it's bagged separate, because I agree with you. I don't want it on my other stuff, so I always keep it completely separate from everything else. But I just don't want to mess with it. I
Yeah,
just
like
don't.
99.99% of my listings, I either if I can't get it off, it goes in a junk lot. But that one I put like for harvest or repair. It's missing like 4
Yep.
stones anyway, and it's only a single earring, and it's really sought
Yep.
after. So I'm like,
And
that's
that's
fine.
just it. It's usually earrings that it's on a lot of
I get
times.
big, long. Yeah, I agree with you. But in the really old, like glass, chunky necklaces, and I think it's just because it was stored improperly, probably, or it was stored with something else, and then it gets into it, and I'm like, ugh. So I need to work on some of that stuff, but I don't want to hijack your so I am inept in the Art Deco. I throw around words that I don't always know what they mean, and I'll admit it. And Art Deco is probably one of them. I get the shapes, I get the lineage, I get part of it. But I told Lynn when she came up with this topic that, you know what, Lynn, I'm not really good at this. So why don't you teach me about Art Deco? And then we can go look to see what, me as a newbie in that area can find on eBay. So we need to appreciate Lynn's knowledge on this today.
Well, I love Art Deco period. But the one thing that I have noticed when I've been doing all the different periods is that a lot of these stones and materials overlap. So you're not going to be able to really base it totally off of the stones, so you need to look at all aspects of each piece. So you're going to run across, like in this Art Deco period, the same as the Victorian period, some of the colors of the stones. But it might be more prominent in the Art Deco period, but they did use it in the Victorian period. So
And Edwardian,
that's,
Edwardian age
that
overlaps.
overlaps. And
And so does
arts
Art
and
Nouveau.
crafts.
Art Nouveau and Art Deco, I'm not good at telling you the difference, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, we're just going to cover the major things that would make one piece stand out. And you can absolutely say, yes, that's definitely Art Deco. That's the only way to, if it has very distinct features. So we're going to cover
My
the
God.
basics. We don't go
Me too,
into
Meg.
fine detail.
I've probably spelled,
So-
yeah, I have to look up the Nouveau word every time I write it down because it's one that I just misspell every time. I'm with you.
All right, I'm going to share my screen.
Perfect.
All right. I'm going to pull up the chat so I can see that
That's very pretty.
first.
I like that.
Yeah. All right. I can't pull up chat. You'll just have to take care of that.
I got it.
Okay. All right. Art Deco period was between the 1920s to the 1940s. It originated in the 1920s. It was thriving in the 30s and then started declining as World War II approached in the 40s. And it emerged post-World War I, reflecting a world seeking optimism and luxury. It was influenced by industrialization, advancements in technology, and international art and design movements. Art Deco jewelry emphasized glamour, geometry, and streamlined design, moving away from the ornate flowing designs of the Art Nouveau era. 1920s to the 30s, jewelry became bold and luxurious, reflecting wealth, the jazz culture, and societal shifts like women's suffrage. And it was inspired by architecture and ancient cultures like Egyptian and Aztec, Cubism, Futurism, and machine age aesthetics. If you think about it, it kind of relates to the art, what was going on in the art fields at that time. It crossed over into jewelry. And mass production became popular. It was allowing people to enjoy the era's glamour without high cost because of the mass production. Some of the styles and features of Art Deco jewelry included like geometric shapes. So there was a strong emphasis on linear designs and symmetry and bold geometric patterns like triangles, circles, and rectangles. And they used exotic motifs like Egyptian and Aztec influences, which led to scarabs, hieroglyphics, and animal-inspired forms. Contrast and balance was popular, so the monochromatic designs featuring black and white, which was usually onyx and diamonds, plus symmetrical balance and layering. They did a lot of stackable and convertible jewelry in that time frame. Pieces designed for versatility, such as stackable bangles, were popular, and jewelry that could transform, like this brooch here. It could transform into a dress clip or two dress clips, or I guess you could maybe use them as shoe clips if you wanted. And you put it all back together and it formed a brooch. Some of the detailed features and shapes of the time was in their brooches, they had like a dominant, sharp, angular shape, and they featured stepped patterns, pyramids, and sunbursts. In the earrings, they were usually long drop styles with vertical lines or chandeliers to accentuate movement. Like we said, it was the jazz time, so they like to have long dangly earrings for that. Necklaces and pendants, they used tassels and long beaded necklaces, which they were considered flapper necklaces, which are considered 36 inches or longer, and you can use that in your titles, the word flapper. And they were made to be worn singly or doubled up. And they also used plaques and pendant styles, bold pendants featuring semi-precious stones. In bracelets, they did cuff and bangle styles, often layered with open work patterns and vibrant enamel details. In rings, they had large center stones, intricate cuts, and multiple bands. There's a lot of layering going on in that time frame. And emerald and baguette cuts were popular. Oops. And colors that they used in that time period were black and white. And again, the onyx, crystal, diamonds, and marcasites were provided for that strong contrast. They did jewel tones like ruby red, emerald green, sapphire blue, and vibrant colors like coral and turquoise. And they did multiple combinations like Cartier's Tutti Frutti, which is right here. That is one of Cartier's pieces featuring the combination of the blue, red, green, and white stones. The materials that they used back then included a lot of things like diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires. They also used jade, onyx, coral, marcasite, chrysoprase, and crystals. So a wide range of stones. The metals, they also did a wide range of metals, like platinum was their primary metal, and we're talking on higher end pieces due to the durability and the modern look, while white gold and silver were also used. So you can see it's kind of leaning towards the silver tones. Base metals that they used were brass, copper, and pot metal, which is a mix of metals. Rhodium and chromium plating were used to plate the base metals, but silver tone and gold tone finishes were the most common. More so the silver tone, not as much of the gold tone in that time frame. Nickel and tin alloys were also used for lighter weight pieces like earrings and brooches. And enamel, they used colored enamel and geometric patterns, and that provided a bold visual impact. The synthetic stones that they used were faux pearls, rhinestones, and glass beads. Camphor glass was popular. And in plastics, they used bakelite, lucite, and celluloid. And then scarab wings were also used. And these are actually real scarab beetle wings. They reflect the light. They're just really pretty. They look like dichroic to me.
Have you ever gotten any
And
real scarab things? Have you ever gotten any real ones?
I have not.
I haven't either.
I thought somebody in here did. Meg, maybe? And somebody did.
No.
Yeah, I think you're.
When I first started selling jewelry, I thought like all those scarab bracelets were like all real like ones, and I was like, oh, they're not real beetles.
They would be
Maybe that's
fragile
it.
if, I would imagine they'd be very fragile.
They must coat them because they're hard. Like they must coat them in some kind of sealant or something. They're not real fragile.
Hmm.
But the clasp that they use, the types of clasp and closures was box clasps, which we see pretty common back in that time frame, often with a decorative engraving. They used hook clasps, which are pretty common, and they still use them today. They use these on necklaces and bracelets mostly. They use push clasps and snap clasps. I'm going to go through these a little bit. This one on the left here was really interesting to me. This is a bakelite piece and has this little snap enclosure, which I have never run across this style, but if you run across it now, you'll know what it is. This one right here is considered a snap clasp. I use the word snap in the item specifics on eBay for I call these fold over clasps, but that's what they refer to them.
They don't
This
give us
one
that
I would,
option.
no, they don't give us fold over clasp. And this one I would call a push clasp. It's similar to a box clasp, so you might be able to use that interchangeably, but I would probably call it a push clasp. This one up here I would call a push clasp, and this one over here I'd call a push clasp. Some people would use the word box for them as well, so it's just a matter of opinion. Screwbacks. So this pair of earrings right here I picked up about 2 weeks ago. Does that not like say Art Deco to you? It is so distinct.
Very
It's,
elegant.
yeah, and I love them. They used screwbacks starting around that time frame. So let's see, I'm trying to remember when they were invented. It was back in, I want to say in the 1910s, it had to be the 1910s. And maybe it was, no, it was even earlier than that. Don't quote me on that. And they used them up until the 50s and 60s, but they were most popular during the 30s and 40s. And
I'm a
then they
slow visual
used,
learner. Like, can you say why it's Art Deco? Like, why it's so Art Deco? Like, cause I'm like, I don't know.
symmetry, the jewel tone stones, the points, the linear design. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I think if you look at, just like I said, the architecture, the streamlines, the color schemes, you put it all together
Okay.
and you look at the back and it shows the screwbacks.
Yeah.
That tells you it's an earlier piece. So then you got to figure, is this Art Nouveau? Art Nouveau is a little more flowing and soft, and the edges wouldn't be pointed.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I guess I
y-
got thrown off by the little, like the little clasp or the little, sorry, the thing holding the stone in or whatever. Cause it's like
yeah,
curved.
these little,
I don't know.
see,
Yeah.
that's where a lot of things will cross over. So they're
Okay.
just leaving the Art Nouveau period. So you're
Okay.
going to still see some of them elements into the Art
Okay.
Deco period.
Lynn,
And yeah,
they
that,
look like bugs to me too. You know, not bugs, scarabs. They have that
oh,
scarab look.
yeah, yeah, they kind of
That's
do.
what made me think, yeah, just as a quick glance.
Yes, they do. Okay, so safety role class. Now, these were invented in 1911, this safety role class right here. So you're going to start seeing these in the Art Deco period. And the hinge also became a roll hinge rather than the tube hinge. So again, we're leaving the last period that used tube hinges, and now we're starting to see this type. The earlier pieces were handmade. You'll see that more of the handmade all the way back into the 1800s, but this is more of a mass-produced style. So that's going to be a little bit older or newer, I mean, to the older handmade ones. And with this on here, it's from 1911 or later. And that is about it. Oh, the lever safety clasp, that's this style right here. It's similar to a roll clasp. You push this lever down and this piece rolls up and the pin can come out. So it's similar to a roll clasp, but it just has this little lever on it. And that was used a lot during the 1920s. And that is it. I was going to hop over to eBay Solds. Carrie's going to take over and she's going to,
Let's
she
just see
says
what
she's going
people on
to,
eBay say that say what is Art Deco, and let's see if we agree with them, because we may or may not. About time you get used to it, it's different. So let's
Yep.
see what Art Deco, let's look at I've noticed in here if you put like jewelry, you get weird results. So it's just better to do let's do a bracelet. I like the bracelets. And these don't necessarily have to be solds because, so I would guess that these at the top are probably not. Maybe they are. They're awfully clean. Awfully clean. So here is one that says Art Deco, Gouache. Looks like I would say that those shapes are correct, right? That would be appropriate shape. And
Yes, you'll see Pioche quite a bit in that time period. So yeah.
yep, and yep. And so I would say this is probably appropriate on this. Let's go ahead and do solds just because I'm curious as to what kind of prices we're getting.
People are using Art Deco as the style and not the period. So you're going to get a lot of that listed that are not old.
Yep. So this one looks like it would be correct
Mm-hmm.
to me. Also have the shapes and the filigree, which I think is also common. The filigree in the bracelets and the
Yep.
necklaces.
Yeah, it has the hard rectangles, but open work. Like you said, the filigree, the marquee shapes, stones. I feel like they used a lot of marquees back then, or navettes, some people call it.
Yep. See a different one. So I think that whether it's the period or the style here. Yeah, this one's probably correct on the
Yes,
period.
definitely.
That's a very nice bracelet. I think she cleaned it.
But that
Beautiful though.
rhodium plating is it. A lot of times you see them in great shape.
Yeah, it does protect it. You're right. I thought it was sterling at first. It is not.
Did, did they put
This,
Art Deco in that sweetheart bracelet?
yeah, so that would be what, 40s. So that would not be Art Deco, period.
That is
Because,
Victorian or like a Victorian style, but
right,
it's back, later.
it's the 40s. They were made in the 40s.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
but I don't see anything Art Deco about that either. That I could see the plastics, old bangles. I don't automatically think Art Deco when I see that, but it may be correct.
Well, you picture the flappers dancing and they just had layers of bracelets on. But it is hard to just look at a bangle bracelet and say, yeah, Art Deco. That is hard.
Yep, I agree. Like this one, I don't really know. It's beautiful. We'll never knows. Um,
It
I
looks
don't
almost
see,
like dragon's breath.
it
Oh,
says
it
it is
is.
Dragon's Breath, yeah. Um, I don't know that there's anything there that tells me so much that it's Art Deco.
Other than dragon's breath was used, which that's one thing I didn't find a lot of in my research.
But look at the catch.
Well, it's a push class. It's a thumb one, isn't
Five.
it? I thought it was the thumb class.
Yeah, just
Hard to
spring
tell.
ring.
So I'm not sure on that one. I wouldn't say they're wrong. It just doesn't. If you scroll through these, I do think there's a lot of them that are coming up that would be correct. This is not correct to me. You cannot have Y2K and Art Deco. That doesn't work. That's called keyword spamming. Don't do it.
You're not even chunky.
hmm?
They put chunky. They're not even chunky. They even put.
No, they're not. Gabe Boyer did not produce things during the Art Deco period. I know this to be true. So that is not true. And something people don't always think about, which I'm sure like me and Lynn and Meg and Suzanne, we probably do think about it. But when I see things like that, I don't even go look at the other stuff. Because if you're like into the vintage jewelry world, you see people put things like Y2K Art Deco, and like now I know they don't know what they're talking about, or they don't care if they're giving a product honestly, and I don't even look. So that's something to keep in mind if you're keyword spamming.
That is correct.
Or
That's
go
how
see
I
if
am
you can
anyway.
snipe them.
Yeah, that's true. You can snipe them, but I just, yeah, I'm not taking them seriously anymore as a seller.
Yeah, definitely.
This says this was made in the 20s, so that would be a correct time period for Art Deco. I'm not great with Taxco time periods and all that good stuff, so that very well might
I
be.
would-
I don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like a whole nother category when you're talking Mexican jewelry, Art Deco time period. That's like two separate things to me.
And it
Yeah.
is 980, which is, Mexican silver, not to be confused with alpaca. People think they're the same thing. They are not the same thing. Actual Mexican silver is actually more silver content than sterling. If it's actual Mexican silver.
That blue and go back,
Mhm.
the
I like
blue and
that
white
one.
or
Oh, absolutely.
that one.
It's
I'm
gorgeous.
looking at that going $29. That's it. Can you click on it? I'm wondering if it's newer to
Maybe it's
made to look
broke.
like Art Deco.
I mean, the rhinestones have age on them.
And that clasp is older.
Yeah. I'd say it's looks legit to me.
Well, it's definitely old. I wonder if they're real sapphires. Well, it says blue rhinestone. So sapphire blue
Probably not
rhinestone.
actually
I
a
wouldn't
sapphire.
use sapphire.
I would not either. I'm kind of sticky about that. I don't like it. Do not use that word in things if it's not. This says Art Deco Nouveau, jadeite art glass, wide crown set, bracelet, bronzed oval frame. So they can cross over. I mean, that's a thing. It, beautiful,
I
beautiful
don't
bracelet.
I don't know if I get Art Deco out of that.
Looks
don't either.
Mexican to me.
I don't think it's Mexican, but it's more
It has
Nouveau, I
that
think.
kind of a style.
It does have that kind of style. It wouldn't have been $29 at my store. You would have paid more than that, $22.
Yeah.
This
I
is a nice
agree.
bracelet. So it's got wear on it and stuff. There's so many people that don't list things like this because, well, it's got wear and it's missing some gold tone and stuff. But that's what gives it personality. Like it's legit old. It looks old. Those green stones, if you're wearing that bracelet, you're not gonna be like, oh, look, there's a little gold tone missing.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. No one would even look at the metal, just the green. It's so pretty.
And she's
Right.
showing it, so she's disclosing it. Yeah, that I probably would have priced that closer to $79 at my store, to tell you the truth. Tried for it anyway for a while, maybe more. Depends on it. I can't feel it. I don't know. Maybe it's glass. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's, I don't know.
So that blue one, what would you have priced that one if you wouldn't? Because that one went on auction, but if you had
Bracelet.
yeah.
I would have probably tried for like 49,
Okay, this one.
59
That's
maybe.
I think I would have too, but I need to see it had a lot of yellow on it, and
if it was
I would be
truly old
concerned about that.
yellowing. So if these
I don't know if
yellowing
that's just a reflection.
is glue, right? So if your rhinestones are yellow because they've been repaired, that's not as forgivable as if they're yellowing because they're old. So you get really old
Right.
pieces and the rhinestone's yellow because that's what rhinestones do when they're super old. If they're yellow because somebody has replaced the rhinestones, not so good. So Lynn's right. Very hard to tell in the pictures. Because like here, it doesn't look so bad. You could see the shading of it. And it's okay. If it was super old and they're yellowing, like I forgive that. If it's super old and like, oh, it's because you glued a bunch of icky rhinestones in there, not so good. There's forgivable levels of yellowing. Like, I don't know. I wonder if that's carnelian. Oh, it says it's carnelian. Gosh,
That
why don't we read before we say things? I don't know.
I don't know. That looks like Art Nouveau-ish. I mean, it looks probably from the 40s or 50s. Well, then again, you just showed us the sterling mark.
Yep. I've been learning all about, I think I'm going to do, suggest that we do a call at some point on English sterling marks and how it tells you the exact date it was made, because I've been having to deep dive into that because I got a bunch of it and it's super interesting to me. Just so you know, super interesting. The different sterling marks and all that it can tell you about a piece. Beautiful piece though. Also wouldn't have been $32 at my store.
But you see flowers on things, you don't see a whole lot of flowers in the Art Deco period. It's more
We do in the Nouveau.
linear. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's all too round to
hard.
me. I don't know if it's not like a diamond or something. I'm like, that's how the only way I know it's like an Art Deco thing. Like, it's super
Yep.
pointy.
Mm-hmm.
They have hard lines, harder lines.
Right.
The Nouveau period's like flowy and pretty and, you know, a little bit more. This definitely.
But there's a rounded one, and it is Art Deco, but it has them streaks, the sunburst effect in the glass.
My guess is that's camphor glass.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't use that as a that would have brought more money, I believe, if you had used the camphor glass. Would have been
Definitely.
$32 in my store.
They were selling
I
them
sold.
cheap.
Cracked. It's cracked. That's a
Oh,
double.
that's why.
It's cracked. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got definite filigree patterns. That is true Art Deco. I
wonder
just
what that
sold
means.
one of these not too long ago, probably in the 40s, but it was the chain was very thin, fine. It didn't have decorative band like that.
Brooches. See what a Art Deco brooch looks like. You know, these calls never seem like work to me because I've never done one of these and not learned something that was useful to my business. So I don't think Arthur Pepper was doing a whole lot in the 20s, was he?
I don't think so.
I'm not even sure if he was around yet.
Let's see.
I
He
don't
was
see
it was a very short time period for him.
I thought it was more in the 50s, but I could be wrong.
50s to 60s, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that maybe.
Bar brooches, yeah, they're probably pretty common.
I wish people I need to learn a lot about bar brooches because you see them sell really high and then you see some that like aren't anything. Although now I look at that and think 1928, but
Yeah.
That's what I was that's exactly what I was looking at. It's Art
I'm
Deco
like-
style.
yeah, I'm like, that's not what that is. Yeah.
You'll see a lot of 1928 brand pieces
People are lying.
labeled.
People really think it is the year. Like, there's a lot of
Right.
Oh, look, we got a Mikimoto sterling silver. I want to see the mark on this. So we're gonna go look at this just because I'm curious, because I would have left that in the box. Just because I'm a pearl hater.
Oh,
I
I
can't
thought
believe
that
they didn't
blue
show
was
that
part
close.
of the whatever it was. It's not. Oh, that's terrible. That confused me.
There's a little M.
It's an
Little
M
S.
inside of an oyster shell.
Oh, yeah, it's hard to see. But then we have a write-up about Mikimoto pearls that probably wasn't theirs, and don't do that either. Yeah, that pleat's very distracting.
Yeah.
I would not do that. Oh, could that bow be? No, I don't think so. I think that bow's more Art Nouveau style, and I don't even know that it's old.
But the marcasites.
Yeah, maybe. Oh,
What does it say? Sterling.
it's a sterling vintage.
That's odd.
Yeah.
That would make me go,
Vintage on there.
Timu.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking a little bit. Some of those are getting really good, guys. Really good. I caught another one the other day and I should have saved it. Instead I was ticked off, so I threw it in a box. Really good fake. The fakes are, boy, getting good. There's like marcasite and that looks old. There's another bar brooch. Bar brooch is confused. So they don't confuse me about whether they're old or the style. It confuses me what to price them at. So Catherine wasn't doing it then either.
But that brooch looks like it is.
But it's not.
No, but you know what I mean is
The
the
style. Yep.
color and the style.
Yes, the style is correct. But I feel like because I'm someday going to turn into an old jewelry snob lady, I think that they should say style, just like we do Egyptian revival. That's
Right.
me saying I know it's not real, and I think they should put style in there because there's a difference between the style and the time period. That's not an old brooch. Somebody buying that would think, if they don't know any better, would think it's old. It's not old.
All right, just like that brooch right there. That screams, not that one, the one above it, the $10 one. That one screams Art Deco. style, but to me, I don't think it's old.
It's not.
No, it's probably 70s, 80s, but there again, and they
It's
have
still
it, I
vintage,
guess it is vintage,
but
but
it's not
it's
Art Deco.
Art Deco style.
Judith Jack wasn't around in the 20s.
No,
It says
So
1980s.
right, but then that's false.
Right, it needs to be style. We're
You
gonna
know,
drive
I'm gonna
everybody
become one of
nuts
those.
with that.
I'm gonna be, yeah, well, it's true though. And if you get collectors in your store though, for them to take you seriously, you have to title your things correctly or they think you're a fraud. It's just the
Right
way it
there,
is.
that piece.
This
Coral,
one,
that
this one.
it
It's a
wouldn't
Coro
be
style. That's naughty. Don't do Coro style. It either is Coro or it's not.
it. I wonder if it's a KTF piece. I almost think they probably just couldn't find the KTF because the piece that I have, I gave up. And then I went back when I was photographing it, and all of a
Sign
sudden
right
I
there.
found the KTF.
It's signed on top. So also, let's say you couldn't read the signature on there. So how do we tell if this is a Coro duet or not? We can look up the patent number and it will tell you that it's a Trifari duet or it's a Coro or whatever it is, or KTF, it'll tell you according to the patent number. Let's see if
What does
there's
that say?
I can't tell, and she doesn't have a good picture of it. It may be a Coro duet because that's where they write that on the Coro duets is right there. It is a
It's
Coro
usually
duet.
KTF.
It's a
Oh,
Coro
there we
duet
go.
right there.
Okay.
Hmm So
Then
maybe
I
she just
wouldn't have
couldn't.
used the word style.
I wouldn't have because it's true. It's a real, somebody got a really good
Right.
deal. Yep.
Exactly.
Because they didn't, if you
That's
don't take the
cheap.
time to look through it, even though I think it was missing, it had a flaw or something. That's
Quite-
okay. Because those brackets, so if you ever find a Coro duet bracket, those brackets alone sell because people lose them and they need the brackets. So even if you just find the frame, I've taken them apart from ones that are just totally trashed, unsalvageable, and sold the bracket. This one's pretty
You
cool.
could probably get $50 for the bracket.
Yeah, I think I got 45 last time. Yep, you can. It's a cool little brooch. I don't know that I think it's Art Deco, but it's cool.
No, it's not Art Deco.
This one is, I would think. To flip it over to see, but
Yes, I believe that one is. I had that in my video.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
it's very nice.
It is nice. You can see the filigree kind of gives it away type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know
Not
enough
the
about these
heavy.
little dogs. I don't know enough about okay, that I don't know the dog.
Yeah, he's not rounded. He's kind of got sharp points,
Mm-hmm.
tail sharp, ears points, nose is pointed. Kind of gives it a little bit earlier of a time frame or Art
It could
Deco
be.
style.
I don't know about all these flowers. I don't know much about Japan Art Deco either.
Japan Art Deco?
What this
Me
is.
neither.
This one's beautiful. But I don't
Japan, when
think
it
it's
says Japan, makes me think 40s, 50s.
me too. So I believe this is more of an Art Nouveau. It's flowier, it's rounded,
Yes.
flowers.
Yep.
It's really nice. So I mean,
And it's
still a nice brooch.
dragon's breath. And I think that's what they're associating with the Art Deco period.
Probably true. Yeah, see, like this would have done so much better on a Buy It Now. The Stuart Nice stuff sells good. I've had pretty good luck with it. There's a bunch of it in the lady stuff too. Boy, she put all this stuff on auction and didn't get hardly anything for any of it.
I wouldn't waste my time for that.
I wouldn't either. But I think it could have brought more with the correct titles and with Buy It Now. She would have got more money.
Yeah, or even lotting them up. That's a really poor
So
return.
I am terrible. So like, here's a beautiful bar brooch. It doesn't look all that much different besides the blue than the other ones we saw for 15 bucks. And so they just confuse me. I'm never really sure what to price mine at. I price high and go from there. Hope for the best. And then come down. See, I wouldn't have, it's got a, well, it's got the, isn't that a little trombone hinge there? Trombone.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's probably more Edwardian, I would
Yeah,
say.
it's pretty, Edwardian has more of the squarish features, right? More of the hard, it's even harder
Yeah,
lines
and
than,
being earlier, it's gonna have that trombone more
Mhm.
likely.
Although some of the Temu's items that are trying to look old have new trombone clasp on them. Thank you,
Oh, good
Temu, for
Lord.
doing that. Yes, I found 2 of them the other day. And you could tell absolutely they were brand new brooches made to look old, and they had brand new trombone hinges. Nothing like making it hard on us. It was absolutely not old. You could just tell. But it'd be hard to tell if you put it in like an auction lot. You wouldn't know till you got it. Not sure about that, but it's a nice. I also never use dress fur clip. It either is a dress clip or it's a fur clip. One or the other. It's not
I
both.
struggle between dress clips and shoe clips because they both have the points.
Yeah, the fur clip though, or the dress clips are longer. So this part
That's
is always
true.
longer than the shoe clip, but they do look a lot alike a lot of the time. But they're longer.
I'll
I've
put both
gotten
just in case the person doesn't know either, like if they're thinking they're searching for the one thing and then the other. I don't know.
but it's that see, and that's just me being stupid because I think if I'm a real collector, like I don't want to buy from somebody that doesn't know if it's is it a scarf clip or a fur clip,
Good point, good point.
So it's a collector versus a, it's not right or wrong, I guess, but um and I never know when to use the word paste either. I don't know. I just don't use it because I don't understand. I've heard it explained several different ways. All of them are different and it just confuses the heck out of me. So I don't really know. I never know. Like this says paste. Like what makes that paste? Because it's old?
So, I've heard lead crystal, but it's
How do
hard
I
to
know
tell
that's
if it's
like
lead crystal.
Yeah.
And yeah, earlier, because they didn't have rhinestones way back, so they called them paste stones.
I know. I
So
think
I
it's
guess
just
they're basing it off the age of the brooch, the rest of the brooch.
I'm just not confident enough with that, I guess.
Me
And I
neither.
have enough crabby store stalkers that would point it out to me immediately if they thought I was wrong. That's a nice Jomaz set. That is also underpriced. Somebody got a good deal. This is not Art Deco. So I think you kind of get we're about at the end here. This is definitely probably, yeah, if you see 10 of the exact same one, I don't think so.
That looks a
Anyhow,
little newer to me.
it doesn't really help you to put Art Deco in something that doesn't scream Art Deco, right? Because nobody, like, you don't look at that and go, oh, that's an Art Deco piece. Like, so you got to kind of think of that too, what audience you're trying to get to. I'm curious with this Fluor, they spelled Fluor wrong, by the way.
Oh, there's a couple ways to spell it.
Oh, because it's
Seen it.
French. Fancy.
Yeah.
That is, yep, that's what I thought. This is a watch, bobbish brooch thing. Pocket watch, isn't that what it is? Pocket watch,
Yes.
pocket watch
They are
holder.
great sellers.
They are
I've sold
great
them
sellers.
several times.
I would
What
agree
did
with
it
you.
sell for?
14 bucks.
14? No. 35 to 40, maybe.
I would agree with you. Yep. They're great sellers. They're really small, but I would have front loaded that pocket watch holder at the beginning of the title.
And a
Yep,
lot
they
of
sell
them are
really well.
gold plated. They won't
And-
say it, but you gotta test them.
And I don't usually, because I just price it like it was, because most people that collect them, they know,
Right.
and they're buying it because of the style or whatever. So, but yeah, you're right. A lot of them are. Yep. I just saw that and I'm like, I think that was way underpriced. Yeah, and I had some the other day that had some scrolling. I know what I was gonna do. I was going to ask your opinion on something that I drafted this morning. It's a very old piece. I'm not so sure that the chain's not gold, but I don't see any markings for the, we know where that goes. Um, it's one of those odd ones that I think that in the past I would have probably underpriced, and now I don't want to shoot myself in the foot. Hang on here. I think Janine would probably really like this piece if I had to guess. So it's very small, but appears to be very old. It's like very intricately done. It's like with this like pendant thing.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Never seen anything like that. It's like
it's very well done.
cool cameo.
I'm not real sure what the
What's the back?
It's old. Well done. So it's really like a little bit about nothing, but yet
Is
it's
it?
pretty
It's
neat.
not broke on the ends, is it?
Nope. It's like all here. I took a picture of it.
Okay.
It's made to be that way because I thought that at first too. So I made sure to take a picture. If I had to guess, it's
It
probably
does.
gold plated.
I would think so too. It's
It's old.
interesting.
So I'm gonna probably price that high and hope for the best. See if anybody makes me an offer. The chain is a really fine it's an old chain.
Yeah. Early 1900s.
It's very little though. Um, pretty dainty. But I never know, like these are the things I misprice.
Do you move your square off your light box every time, or do you have a separate little area you throw it on to take
I
the
keep it
picture?
there for most of the brooches and stuff, but I just take it out when it's like in the way.
What are the dimensions of that square? Is that a 6x8 or is that?
No, it's 11 by something.
I'm trying to find a small one, but I don't see any for sale.
This fits in my small light box fine.
I bought a silver
Anyway.
one recently, but the markings don't show up because it's, or it's stainless steel.
Yep. Yep, that's why I bought a black one. They're pretty cheap. They're not very expensive. But like, what would you price that at, Lynn? Because I really have zero idea.
It's so unique. 69.99.
Yeah, I was gonna start $79.99 and take an offer, so we're close. Just because it's different, somebody that, and you could go either the people that collect that time period or a cameo collector. I'm gonna go either way. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm in the
Yeah.
ballpark. Go ahead and share your screen, Larry.
Sure. Hang on a second. So this is a lot I'm about to put up. This right here, this pair and this pair are Monet. And this pair is Napier. And these two in the lower right are sterling silver.
Middle ones are signed too, aren't they? Are they coral or something?
Let me see. I don't think so. Let me
That one looks like Avon, the flower ones.
Avon
Or
or
the
1928.
1928. Yeah.
this one here.
Yeah.
It does.
If you
Avon,
have a
lots of
picture
things,
of the back,
lots of times,
I didn't
Avon
because
earrings.
I didn't photograph the back because there's no maker's mark back there.
So Avon
well,
only did a little bitty like copyright C on the earrings and usually
Okay.
only on one of them. It's really easy to
Okay,
make.
I'll double
miss.
check.
What were you gonna say, Lynn?
Oh, well, Avon's a circle with a dot in the middle. That's their
That's what it
little
looks, yeah.
mark. And then 1928 has like scroll marks all over the back. It has a scroll pattern stamped into the metal. They're usually pretty distinctive.
Okay. What I wanted out of this conversation was, does it make sense to split this up and pull, for example, pull the two Monets out, this guy and this one, and sell them together, or just throw it all in a mixed lot here and try to get what I can for it? Is there anything that stands out
You
as something?
also have gold and silver mixed in together, and lots of times people only like gold or they like silver. They don't like both.
Yeah, yeah.
And you said the one
they're
sterling,
very-
I'd pull the sterling out and I'd pull the pierced out separately from the clip.
That's what I was gonna say too. People are clip or they
Right.
Okay.
don't.
I
usually
would agree
go
with
back and
that.
forth.
All of these are clip with the exception of the bottom two. And
And then we're the two sterling.
Yep.
I would pull the sterling out too and do the
Okay.
rest together. Because
All right.
if I would do like two Monets together, if they were a little more elaborate. These are pretty
They're
simple.
pretty plain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And now,
as well as the Napier.
assuming I pull these silver ones out, and I'll probably pull this one out just to, so they're all gold tone. I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pair of earrings, 3 of which are signed. Now, granted, they're not high-end makers, but how much would you charge for 6 pair of earrings? $29, $19?
I was right at 29 in my mind.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Same.
I agree.
Okay, cool.
And
Thank you.
don't discount. So Monet and Napier can be really good if you get the right pieces. So don't discount it just because it's a Napier or Monet. I had a pair of Napier earrings that were just hideously ugly, and I got $150 out of them. Now, granted, it doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. And I only knew that because of the book that I got that could kill somebody if it doubles as a weapon if you can pick it up fast enough because it's 50 pounds. But in Monet, I've done really good with some Monet too. So I have a Monet necklace that I'm gonna list today for 59, and it'll be close probably.
All right. Well, thank you for your input.
I agree with Lynn.
No
29.
problem.
Pretty good. I posted it on the group yesterday. I had and it was obviously a handmade deal, but somebody had put those little post office things on top of a green Christmas tree or a blue Christmas tree brooch. And I put mailman gift, and it sold in like 5 minutes, and it wasn't signed or anything. And it was tacky, I thought, but it sold for $25 like almost instantly. So Christmas trees are going. If you
idea.
look at this, if you look in the solds right now, Christmas tree brooches, there's some hideous Christmas tree brooches selling really good right now. I mean, like they aren't even good. If you have Christmas tree brooches, now's the time. Actually, like a month ago was the time. I actually tried to have my Christmas stuff all completely up by October or something, but get them up because people are Christmas happy right now. So
Did you sell your Galen Friends ones?
no, but I've had watchers on it. Those are so ugly and cheap feeling. Like I'm gonna feel guilty if it does sell for $200 because it's ugly and it's not even quality. I think there must be like some cult following for Gail, because and her friends must be loyal because they're not great. But I sold an art one that was missing like 2 or 3 stones the other day because a lot of people are tearing them apart. They're not even wearing them. They're making
Or
hideous.
using them in trees, in
They're
the
making hideous
picture frame
trees.
things.
I had somebody that put a $200 some order in the other day and then told me they're just tearing it apart to make one of them ugly trees. Whatever.
I hate
Have
that.
fun. Tear them apart. Have a good time. But
But
yeah,
some of them brooches were so mass produced that they're hardly worth anything anyway.
I have a deal with a lady and she buys all my Sarah Coventry. And I've gotten some really unique Sarah Coventry pieces lately that I've never seen before, ever, which is hard for me to say about Sarah Coventry. Just really cool pieces. And but I got to give her those things, right? Because if I start cherry picking off her Sarah Coventry good pieces, she's not going to take all the crap I don't want anything to do with either. So,
Especially
and
since
actually,
it's harder to sell them.
well, last time I gave her there was a lot of pretty ordinary, I mean, ones we've all seen 100 times, Sarah Coventry's. And she's like, I'll give you $200 for that lot. And it was like 100% not worth $200. Like it just wasn't. And so I said, how about you give me $150 and keep buying it? And she's like, that's a deal. See, so I made her happy. I'm still getting overpaid for it. And she keeps taking all the Sarah Coventry crap that I don't want.
Does she wear it? Sell it?
She sells it. She has an eBay store that's only
Oh.
Sarah Coventry.
Oh, okay.
And so she has collectors, if she gets anything unique at all, she, there's people watching her store for the Sarah Coventry.
Some Sarah Coventry is
Well,
nice.
how many-
That's like undervalued, kind of, in my opinion, down the market. But yeah, it's hard to sell, even if it's nice.
It is.
How much do you think you get per piece, approximately?
For the really ordinary stuff in my head, when I'm trying to like negotiate with her, I'm thinking $5, right? So I could sell it on eBay for 15, 10 maybe, but I'm gonna get an offer. It's gonna sit there forever. I get $5 cash. It's usually pieces that I have, like, I'm not even including in my, they came out of big lots. I would have never purchased them. They're gonna go in a junk box if I don't sell them to her. So, the good piece is she's paying 20, $30 a set. I have no idea how she's making money, but that's not my problem. I think she keeps some of it. I think she keeps the real unique pieces. But like I got the whole mosaic set the other day. Earrings, ring, necklace, bracelet, whole set, brooch. I mean, I've never had the ring for the mosaic set before, and I wanted to pick it out, but I didn't.
Can I share my screen
Absolutely.
and show you my Christmas tree brooches? I have 25 listed and I hardly ever
wow.
sell them, so I think they're overpriced.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
This one's a really cool one. It's Metropolitan Museum of Art one, but I just listed this not too long ago. $69. Here's another one listed for 67. Does that look like too much?
And I'm looking up to see what they're selling for. Those do sell for higher prices for sure, but they don't always sell very quickly. I like getting that brand. It's a good brand. So they're selling for that exact one sold yesterday for $32. Sold October 26th for $25. Sold October 24th for $41. There was one that took an offer on September 11th. They had it priced at 70, but I don't know what the offer was. So that's the last sales history on that. So yes, probably overpriced.
So all the ones that are listed are at $67.99 and up are the ones that
The key to that statement is they're still listed.
exactly. So people are waiting till they get down low to actually buy them. That one has a tag on it, that's why.
But we never know if they're
Or-
going to sell at all. We don't know.
True. And this one is an interesting one.
It is pretty.
It's very old. It's a Ron one, but it's unique.
It is very
Never
unique.
even heard of Ron.
I haven't either. I wouldn't lead with that because people aren't people are going to buy that, or the collector that want that tree that they've never seen before, because it is very unique. They're not searching vintage Ron rhinestone.
You're right. Although there might be collectors for it.
They'll put it at the end,
guess-
and they'll pull it up. I'd put Ron at the
Probably-
end. And you have it in the brand, I'm sure.
Some of them are upwards of 145 down to $25.
Mm-hmm.
And mine's not like
So that one that
them.
brought 115. So look at this. This is my point. And this is what I was saying this morning. If I could beat it into everybody. But look at the three that brought big money. What's the title? Vintage Christmas tree brooch, vintage Christmas tree pin. It's not, because that's what people are searching. And then they're choosing these because they're so cool.
This is all the same lady, and she's from Missouri, and she gets tons of Christmas tree brooches. I think that's what her store is all Christmas pins. And she's the one that gets the high prices for them. I guess that's narrowing it down to that niche, and people know to go there for their Christmas tree pins.
But if you're gonna get anywhere near that kind of money, you need to catch people scrolling for a vintage Christmas tree brooch, in my opinion.
Agreed. On Terra Peak in the last year, all the ones that started on Vintage Ron are like 30, 40 bucks. The high
This
ones are,
one, I believe, is a Juliana, but it's not labeled.
there's only one Christmas tree, Juliana. I remember reading that in the book.
Yep, there's only one.
Look.
I know, but there is a whole bunch out there that look like them.
Yeah, but it says in the book that, well, unless, if she's right, that there is only one.
Yep.
Then I need
So
to
I'm
lower that
thinking,
one.
yeah, that one's probably not gonna go with that.
But this was a unique one as well. But I guess the cherub on it or the little angel is just not as popular. And since it's unsigned,
Yeah,
probably too high too, isn't it?
yeah. Just go to Christmas tree,
49?
vintage Christmas tree brooches to the solds and see what kind of prices those kind of things are bringing.
Oh,
Because
I
there's
know
probably
that.
at the height right now. Right now it's probably the highest you'll get, price wise. I think a lot of them are in the
Problem is I'm
25
not
to
finding
29.
these. They're all different ones that I'm not finding out there. That's why I'm like hesitant on what price to put on them.
But I think that, I don't know, like, yeah, that's just me though. If you go look though at the solds vintage Christmas tree brooches, which I haven't done in a while, so I'm not really sure right now what's happening. I think you'll see a lot of them that are pretty unique and cool that aren't bringing near that much money.
Yeah, so I went
Yeah.
on Terra Peak and I tried opalite Christmas tree brooch and nothing came up. So then I just put opal. And actually ones did come up like opal style or whatever, and the average price on that is 34.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Maybe
thinking.
I need to just lower them all under $50.
So if you look, what's the key prices you're seeing?
Well, these are pretty common ones. That's the thing. Like you see these all over the place.
Like that one, I agree, but there are some cool ones in there.
This one's 32. Go back up. Let me go back up.
Look at that second one. That one's cool.
Yeah,
That
that
second one you just
was.
saw was cool.
Here's that red background lady. She's selling these for $800. Where does she find these? She's right between us. She must buy them online. Look at this one.
Stanley Hagler.
Look at that one.
Yeah, that's a book
Inca.
piece. Yep.
This one's different.
I do think you're correct about that, that there's a couple sellers that mainly just do Christmas tree brooches and they are able to get more money. There's just no
Yeah.
doubt about it. More
I'm
money
just
than
gonna
I
have to
can get.
lower the price.
Yeah.
Even
Like
some of
these are
these are kind of
KJLs and
cool.
but those are Eisenbergs and KJL and Hollycraft.
Right. I have one Eisenberg ice that is just not selling either. I have
Well,
it priced
Eisenberg
too
ice
high.
trees, yeah, if you go in and I don't know how much yours was, but if you price comp the Eisenberg ice trees, unless it's really unique, they don't bring a lot of money.
Right.
And I like to sort on
There's a
the
white.
left, I'll like sort it out. I'll put just check unbranded and just check estate and then sort it that way too. Weed it out.
Yeah, those are Weiss brooches.
All right. I will stop. I
Sorry.
got an idea.
Yep, they just
Thank you.
go in that $20 to $35 range more than anything. But now is the time, Lynn. Now's the time if you're going to make an
Oh
adjustment.
yeah. I'm gonna go
lower
do it right now, actually.
blow them out the door. Have all those
Yeah.
sales. Like my ugly mailman one brought 25 yesterday, so that's a pretty good. I feel like people are more likely to jump on that. And it was just like ugly. And now I had a desire to take all my ugly Christmas tree brooches and buy like mailman charms and shove them all on there. And because somebody just glued them on, but it was neat. I mean, it was cool, but it was from the antique store buyout. Oh, that's that.
So I wanted to
that one
make a
she found.
point. I have two of these and they sold for $59.99. Just
Yep, and that
so
was
you can
Arthur.
keep an eye out
Oh,
for
Arthur
that one.
Pepper. I feel like Arthur Pepper's on the way up because I've been selling a couple art things lately that are bringing more money now than they ever did a year ago. I feel like Arthur Pepper in general is pretty strong right now.
Yeah.
I like
I would
that
agree
one,
with you.
Lynn.
He had a
You
few,
would?
I don't know if they just didn't mass produce them as much, but I feel like some of his stuff's really, I sold a Christmas tree brooch of his that I would have priced at 20 bucks. I priced comp it and they went for 40 all day long. I priced mine at 40 and it was missing stones and it sold right away. So absolutely make sure you're price comping the Arthur Pepper stuff right now for sure. I
Well, it was
agree.
only produced from the 50s to the 60s, so he didn't probably do a whole lot.
And same with like, so BSK, I don't know if anybody noticed, I had a huge BSK brooch that I'd never seen one that big, huge, heavy. I felt like the metal. So do you guys know what I'm talking about when I'm saying like the baby poop yellow that some of the old metal gets? Am I making this up? Nobody knows what I'm talking about. Okay. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's wear on the metal on the outside and then it gets that weird color, but a lot of collectors are a little forgiving of it because the Coro was famous for having that weird
Oh
yellowy,
yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? Kind of like glue, visible glue on Coro
Yeah.
thermostats. It's just a thing. So it had rhinestones in the middle. I've never seen this BSK brooch, but in general, BSK is not a strong brand, right? I think I put it at 49 bucks. It sold right away. So Lynn's right when she says if you have something that is unique, like I couldn't find any of them sold like it. The price, just price. I think it's okay to price it up when there's, especially if they're signed, because somebody, you know, those collectors are going to see it and go, I've never seen one like that. I'm gonna buy it. But BSK in general isn't something I pick up on purpose. Except there's one leaf one that I keep getting. It's just a plain leaf and it sells really well. I don't really know why, because the rest of them don't sell very good at all. Can't hardly give away my BSK stuff.
Yeah, so I think you should look it up one time, the first
I
time you
agree.
get it, and every
Yep.
time you'll remember it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. If I see this BSK one again, I'm definitely gonna get it. I've never seen one that big and it was really cool.
Yeah, I've been trying to price my stuff higher lately, and then I just remember to knock it down if it doesn't work, because I figure like at least give it a shot, you know?
Well, and that's where like, and I'm definitely not saying anybody else in the whole world should do my pricing strategy with the markdowns. But that's where the 5% every 2 weeks has been helpful to me because
Yep.
if I misprice it, it's going to catch it.
Yep.
It's going to hit the sweet spot. And a lot of people watch it at the higher price and they're waiting for that price drop. And immediately, so last week when I did my 5% drop, 3 items over 100 bucks sold within like 10 minutes of me doing that price drop. And that was 100%. There was watchers on it. It dropped just enough for them to pull the trigger.
Damn, I told you I took
Did
off
you
all
do
my
it?
markdown sales. Now all I do is manual markdowns, and all my old stuff is selling. It would never
That's
sell.
all I do
before.
too. I don't do any markdowns anymore either.
Good
Or
to know.
coupons. Yeah,
It's
Russell
not
had done
working
like
for
one of
me,
his
I'll tell
big
you
long
that.
studies. He'd done this big long study on it. But also you have to have a little self-restraint, which not saying that Lynn would have any trouble with this, but you have to so when your $70 brooch gets down to 20 bucks and it's still not selling, it's so tempting to go, I'm gonna raise that price back up because darn it, it's a $50 brooch. So I'm exercising self-control and I'm just letting it go. And you know what happens? I think lots of times what we think is higher isn't. Like, so to me, that one brooch that sold this morning about killed me because it was definitely worth more money. But you know what? Apparently it wasn't because it's been sitting in my store since May. You know, gotta let it go. But I have to
Yeah.
turn my stuff over faster. I go broke. I don't want a big store of beautiful jewelry. I need money in my pocket.
Well,
So
I
I
took
can
a
buy
single
rainbow
earring lot.
jewelry.
If you guys need quick cash over, single earring lot sold in an hour for like I sold like 100 of them, and like some of them were pretty nice, but nothing like spectacular. And sold for like 50 bucks in an
I
hour.
love those earrings for the trees.
Yep.
Yep.
Easy peasy.
I sell earring lots more than anything. Necklace lots, I do terrible with.
I'm gonna
I'm
start
ready to
splitting them
throw
up. The
all
average ones, I'm
in
gonna
a
split them
box.
into halves and like take them apart from the pairs and make lots like that. They're gonna sell quicker, I think.
You know, I agree with Lynn. I can't sell a necklace lot to save my life.
And
And I have lots of them. They're all coming out of my drawers. I went through all my oldest ones and I have a pile of them right now that I'm like looking at going, should I sort them by all acrylic beads, throw them all in one box? But that would never sell. So do I just mix it with the metals?
I
So,
sell them. I end up like, if people love to sell cheaper necklaces, watch my store because I throw them. I'm not listing them. I don't want them. They can go away. I'm throwing them in a craft box. You can pull them out, sell them yourself because I'm not doing it.
I've turned my necklace lots, I've taken them down and not make them necklace lots and throw them in as it like just them even as a junk lot and it's sold.
Yep, me too. The junk lot thing will sell.
One rhinestone thing on the top of it and call it a day. And then that
Yep, I agree with you. And those single earrings. So the single lots, I do really well doing single lot like West Germany ones. And then I only really divide them by here's West Germany ones, here's the beaded cluster ones, I do sort them to that. And that helps. Kind of, I suppose. But like right now I have this huge big gallon baggie full of earrings that are all paired up and everything. I don't know what I'm doing. I ain't listing them. They could go to a new home. Somebody can go list them all and make a bunch of money because I'm not doing it. Overwhelmed with jewelry as it is right now. Don't need it. Hope somebody gets lucky. Sell in a big lot. Tie bars. That was discouraging to me the other day because we just talked about that, and I have so many boring cufflinks and all that, just like everybody else does. But tie bars the other day, I comped one because one was kind of neat. I mean, they're right on the verge of being worth listing separate.
yeah,
Mhm.
but how many people
Need
get on
one.
eBay and buy them? They take forever to sell.
It was all going a lot free.
Yeah, I have a big box of them too. I listed, so I think what got me is I listed like 3 or 4 the other day, and they were like but it's pricing them correctly too. Like I'd price them at like $25, they'll sit. Price them at like $20, they sell. But then I'm like, is it really worth even mess with? They're a slow sell through rate for sure, unless they're cool. Sometimes I get neat ones and they sell pretty good. But Meg says she has a high end one up now of 8 singles with 2 single Juliana ones for. Yeah, and what I do with single Juliana earrings is I sell as a replacement stones for Juliana. Because they'll pull that stone out of those single earrings and they use them to fix bracelets and necklaces.
Should I just take that lot down then and sell the 2 separately by themselves? Then
I would.
One's a cameo one and then the other one's like a giveaway stone one.
I would put replacement Juliana's harvest lot. Mm-hmm.
Would you sell them
Remember those
separately or like each one individually then?
I'd sell them together. But
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
I sold those stones that came out of some Juliana ones, threw them in a lot of junk and sold them for $80 a lot. And I guarantee you they were buying them because they wanted those Juliana stones. But they were the heliotropic ones,
I just pride myself, I realized they were. Yay, go me, learning.
That's good. That's right. Good to know. All right, Lynn, you're in charge of the recording here because